kind of run down what happened is it is now the week after when this video is supposed to be put up. So I'm making this little update just to kind of give a starter to the video. Basically, my brain has been in a weird funk lately, and I didn't feel like taking any video last week. So what I did instead is then on the Saturday, I videoed me and my sister making soap because she was going to make soap for a neighbor and I need soap. So I thought, why the hell not? I'll spend some time with her, take some family time, do something fun, take some footage of it, and then I'll make a video out of it. So that's what this video is. Now, as I will say in the video, it didn't exactly go as planned. So we may end up doing this again, but this is the footage I have. So I'm gonna have a little fun with it and enjoy. So step one is freezing the milk, right?
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
Because when you add lye, which is like the chemical that saponifies the fat, it heats up the liquid a lot when you add lye to water, and when you do that and it's milk, the milk burns. So it can either not work, or be a really gross color, or smell kind of nasty. So you want to start off as cold as you can make it, and you add your lye really slowly to keep the temperature down, to make sure that your milk doesn't burn.
So we want that milk to stay frozen?
The reason I have it out is so that we can break pieces off.
So you want it slushy?
Yeah.
Got it.
I generally prefer a little bit slushy.
Is that just for ease of work?
Yeah, it's easier to mix if you have it a little bit slushy. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to pop it back into the freezer for a little bit until I get ready.
Okay.
Right, like I'm gonna practice.
And what you're currently doing is covering your table.
Yes.
Into the freezer it goes.
We're gonna use this, and I forgot my Vaseline, but we're gonna use food grade mineral oil. Excuse me. It's in this cupboard.
Mineral oil?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a petroleum product that is a releasant. They put it in moisturizers and things to release things from molds. So we put it on here so that the soap comes out.
Got it.
And I would recommend probably get you a little bowl, and then it's literally like basting something. Dip, smear.
Sounds good.
Try not to have it puddle in the little crevices of the goats.
Oh, okay. So it's just a coat. It's not.
Yes.
Okay.
How many more we're going to use? One more.
So this is lard?
This is vegetable shortening. I like to use Crisco. You can use the Compliments one as well.
But you can use lard.
You can also use lard. I like to use Crisco because it's vegetable oils, and then you can say that your soap is vegan.
Sellable options.
Yes, exactly. They both work equally
It
well.
wouldn't be vegan because we're using goat milk though.
Well, yes, okay. So
Vegan
it's
means-
vegetarian.
yeah.
But you could also, like, you could replace the milk with water, and then it would be completely vegan.
Got you.
It's also a little bit easier to acquire. It's a little bit cheaper. You can still find,
Crisco?
Yeah. You can still find you can still get lard by the same brand, like by Crisco as well, at Walmart and stuff. But yeah, I generally use all vegetable oils otherwise.
Cool. So that's all the Crisco needed.
Yep, 3 pounds. I like to measure everything out before we get started because once you get started, you don't really have time.
But we have gotten started.
Well, it's not melted.
Oh, so it needs to be liquefied before we can do.
Melted.
Got it.
So I like to measure everything out as much as I can because once we get started and you have to actually mix, you don't really have a point to stop and pause and measure out more.
Okay. And that's going to be the drying shelf that Quinn is making.
Yeah. Because cold process soap needs to cure for 6 weeks. So when you use the olive oil, you want not extra virgin.
What difference does that make?
So extra virgin is more highly processed, which means it's thicker and darker. And so you want extra light, which is
that
different.
just for aesthetics or?
You want a lighter oil because it saponifies easier
Oh.
and smells less like olives.
Oh. I didn't realize that was a problem people had.
16, okay, that's would be 17. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna check my book. Oops.
You're putting all of the liquid oils in one container because they're just going to be mixed anyway.
Yes. Okay, I am replacing the safflower oil with canola oil. They are about the same weight of oil. Safflower oil is expensive. It would give a smoother product if we were to use the safflower oil.
Safflower oil is a different kind of flour, right?
Yes. But
Also, is saponified thingy better?
it would give a smoother product, and I think it would give a little bit more of a lather.
Oh.
We need 12 ounces. So that's our safflower amount. And then 8 ounces for the canola amount.
So you're just using canola oil for both.
Yeah. Oops, that's a bit much. It's okay. Generally, you want to be as precise as you can.
How much wiggle room do you normally have?
Generally, I try like total now. I'm only a half an ounce off, but generally you want to be like within 1.1, 0.2. It's easier if you have smaller bottles to pour.
Normally you make bigger batches though,
I
so
do, yeah. I'll do like a
having the
double
bigger
batch.
equipment makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, and then the next is the milk part. Okay, so this can all get put to the side so it can be added to the pot later.
What's that separation called?
Density. So
Density
one of the
separation.
oils is more density, more density.
Has more
dense.
density. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the oils is more dense than the other. Lye.
So you need gloves in order to.
Gloves, long sleeves, and safety glasses because lye is caustic. It will burn you. Yeah. The scientific name is sodium hydroxide, but you'll see it marked as lye.
Where do you normally get that?
Home Hardware, Home Depot.
And it's the cleaning thing mostly? Yeah.
You can't really find it at like a Walmart.
Well, that's because it's like industrial grade shit, right?
Yeah. You'd have to dilute it yourself if you were to use it. So, and as you can see, it's got the caustic quill burn.
So safety is necessary.
Yeah. As I failed to do up my sleeve buttons. Generally, I wear my lab coat to do this, but my lab coat needs to be washed. It's pretty nasty. I also typically would prefer to use the grams, but right now because
For the lye, you mean?
No, just in general.
Are grams more precise?
Yes, because they're a smaller measure, and also it's a little bit easier because the packaging is all in grams and things.
Mm. Is that just because it's a Canadian measurement?
Yeah.
Ah.
Here, we'll switch it to grams.
So I take it the book we're using is an American?
Yes, and even so, a lot of recipes that you'll find, unless it was published in Canada or America or in Canada or Europe, it'll have ounces and pounds anyway. I'm gonna get a scoop. When you work with lye, you don't want to use anything in the lye that you might want to use on food later.
Is that because there's always residue?
Yeah. Or it probably wouldn't because it's dry, but just to be safe, it's better if you don't. That's why I have a box and a bunch of old pans that look horrendous.
Understandable.
28 grams of borax.
Now,
White sugar. This one looks a little gross.
oh, 15.
14. Now, the glycerin. For the glycerin, I usually make a little well in the middle here, just so that it doesn't get on the dish and it's a little bit easier to add to the soap mixture later. Alrighty.
So that's all of the dry ingredients.
Yeah.
All of our wet ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even have the stove on?
Nope, not yet.
Does it melt fast?
Pretty fast.
Science.
Well, it's because I have prescription safety glasses at work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is a little odd for me now.
Science.
But necessary. See? Usually it would be clear. I have old crystal.
Ah. Just realized I might get copywritten if it's too loud.
Yes, probably. Okay.
Let me
So
listen to
that's
good
melted.
music. This is my third favorite song on this album.
So now we're gonna get ready for the milk and lye process. Generally, I try to weigh out the milk and freeze it in the appropriate amount for the batch. And then that makes it easier because I can put it almost like directly into the actual.
So how much milk is supposed to be?
It is, let's see, it's 3 pounds. It's 1.36 kilograms or approximately 6 cups. In Canadian, it's a liter.
Oh, I've got 2, I think. This bag, I think, is 2.
Yeah, but that's why I broke it up before we put it back in, because now we should be able to break pieces off still and measure it. How much is that? It is more than this bag.
I'll get the other bag. This one's going to be harder. This one's going to be harder. This is my favorite song. Off this album.
Can you dump some of that in?
What do you mean?
Some of this. I just realized that I erased my tear, so it's all gonna have to go in.
Oh.
Oops. So we need 1,360 is what we need. That is 1,000.
I thought it was 1,058.
It is. We still need another 300. There we go.
That's the right amount.
Yep.
Everything
goes
into
here.
the pot.
And this is where it being slushy helps. Because from here, we're going to have to add lye. But first we have to prep the sink. So, to prep the sink, so you can see how well it fits in my sink. Beauty. So you fill it full of cold water. Like, you want it well cold.
And if you can't get it well cold, ice cube cold?
Oh, we're putting ice cubes in anyway. But like you want it to be cold at the tap. You don't want it to be like
Luke.
right. Like run it for a few minutes before you stop at the sink. I think that's as cold as we're gonna be getting. Smells like my well water. And I have been preparing.
Nice.
I don't have an ice cube tray, so I use my silicone muffin tray.
I don't judge you. I do the same. I've got 2 different sizes of muffin trays.
So the idea here is we're trying to keep the water around the pot cold so we can keep the milk slushy mixture that we're adding the lye to cold so that we don't burn the milk. Oh, there's so nice piece of that. Lye. I'm gonna put this back in the freezer first,
Sure.
just so we don't get spilled milk everywhere.
One.
Close, dang it. I know you can. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. Cold milk. Carefully place the saucepan in water. We're not going to stabilize with cups because I have a
Your sink is,
reasonable-sized
I was
sink.
about to say, it's just the right size for this.
Yeah. Okay. So now, this is the fun part. So we have to, I usually even set a timer. It has to take at least 15 minutes to do this part.
Cool.
Because we want to keep everything cold. So I'm gonna come over here. Gotta figure out where I put my phone, and we're gonna set a timer. There it is.
So this is the lye?
Yeah, so just a sprinkle to start because we don't have much liquid here. And then we mix it as much as we can. Smear it around, and you'll see the milk will start to melt right away. And this is why a slushy mixture is generally a little bit preferable. This will work just fine for us. If the milk mixture gets too hot, sometimes it can start saponifying early in addition to burning the milk. And then that's not helpful because you can't add it to your oils to saponify the oils that way.
We're not adding oil today, right?
Well, those are our oils.
Oh, that's what you mean. The ones on the stove.
Yeah. But this is why you want to measure your stuff ahead of time. Because now that we've started, we're committed. There's lye to mix in, but this means that you did a good job because it didn't burn.
Cool.
Because it's not yellow.
And we're almost there, or no?
Almost. I have to mix. See all this lye on the bottom here?
The kind of paste there?
Yeah. I have to mix all of that into the milk.
Okay.
And once all of that's mixed in, then we'll be able to add it to the oil mixture.
Sounds good.
So now we're going to take this over and add it to this. Now, we stir. So we have to blend the milk mixture in with the oils. And hopefully it'll work for me. Let's see.
Sorry. So you're doing that because you want it as smooth as possible, you said, right?
Yep. Stir it until it cools down enough that it's kind of solid and we can put it into the molds.
Did you turn off the stove?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like making frosting. You want it to kind of have like stiff peaks.
Bro, I can barely cook. You think I can bake?
So we're reaching trace here, where if you run your spoon through, you can see shapes left behind. So I'm gonna stir it for a little bit longer, but we're almost ready to pour it into the molds.
Sound good?
Oops. See, these are little, I overfilled these.
You know what the terrifying thing about this is?
What?
That looks like chocolate or pudding.
I know. Don't eat it.
Yeah, this is not a project for small children.
No,
This
definitely not.
definitely looks like pudding. This potentially has separated. We'll have to see if it's a bad batch or not. Okay, so we're cutting them now.
About 24 hours after we finished pouring.
Now, we thought we might have done something wrong with this batch, and that was because of 3 things, right?
Yeah, the milk mixture might have been too cold, so it started to congeal before we added it to the oil, which means that it may not have blended right. We mixed it past first trace, which meant that it was pretty solid going into the molds. which is why the backs of these soaps are all ugly. And we might have, we forgot to add something with our initial mixing that we should have, and I blended it in after, and that might have caused some separation later. But everything seems to be pretty solid right now. It's a little bit softer than it probably would have been otherwise. We might be, I think we're a little early cutting it, but it looks like it's holding together really well. So I'm pretty pleased for a first batch after not making soap for a while.
Well, you've not made soap in what, 2 or 3 years?
4.
4.
Yeah.
So,
I think it'll be, I'm pretty sure it'll be 4 this fall.
well, if this is a failure, we can always make it again, right?
Yes. We have more materials prepped, so that would be fairly easy. Oh yeah, see, this is what it would normally look like with when you're cutting, is this corner here.
Well, we only finished at 3 o'clock yesterday, so
Yeah.
we are an hour early because it's only 2 o'clock now or so. So,
You also don't generally, I should be wearing gloves. You generally don't want to touch them, because this, while it's curing, it is still caustic.
okay.
I'm gonna transfer this to a shelf where it'll dry for the next 6 weeks. Oops, I flipped that. Put a pair of gloves on. I feel like having burning fingers today.
And we have the goat molds because this is goat milk that we've used, milk that we produced in the barn and in the farm.
Nice. No damage to these ones. Because when you have a big block or a tube, like I was making before, you would have like a frame where you would measure out however thick you wanted it
Yeah.
and cut it.
You're
in that
using like a
frame.
wire cutter. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. This one's a little. So you can kind of see it looks like it's kind of weeping out that corner. That's what I was worried about.
And that just means it's not fully set, right?
That would be a spot where it's separated out.
Oh.
That's what I'm looking for.
So we still kind of have to wait and see if this was a failure or not.
I think so.
Okay.
I'll be checking on it in the next couple of days to see if it solidifies more. See, look at that. See, I'll be checking to see in the next couple of days if it keeps solidifying and drying out.
Okay.
Because if it does, then we're okay. If it doesn't, then we'll have to throw them.
Okay.
If you look at this one, that's a bubble. That's where air got trapped. This, I think, is some of the oil separating out right there. Right, like an air bubble usually has a very round piece to it, and now even though I've poked into that one, that wasn't very round before I poked it.
Next time we do this, I'm going to bring more cameras.
So you can just set it up on a tripod.
Yeah, but also I can get more angles of more of what we're doing, what it looks like.
Right. it's like each thing, it's like a muffin tray, right? Each one is an individual one. I haven't found it any better or worse. Generally, I think it actually wouldn't be as much of a problem as this seems to be with like it still being soft, because soap shrinks as it dries, as it's curing, because it is drying out. So you get the water removed, and then it would be less soft. So I don't know if it would have been like, because we're an hour early, if we had waited an hour, it would have been easier. Could also be just the type of mold that we're using. This is a hard plastic mold.
And you're talking specifically in terms of like damage to the potential image.
Yes. But for the most part, it's actually been pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say, these guys look pretty good compared to your first round that you did in these molds. I think these guys look really good.
Yeah, like it's just a little bit.
I remember a while ago when you tried it originally, you had a lot more air bubbles. There were a lot more air problems you had.
Yeah, so I think that it's just a case of them being a little bit squishy is why we're getting that, specifically on the baby goat shape.
Well, that one's also the middle row, right?
Yeah. It's kind of the one that I have to press on to get the others out. To get the soap bars. And now we leave them to cure for 6 weeks.
Sounds good.
So I'm hoping in the next few days they will all have this kind of color to it. See how it's like lighter on the corner?
Yep.
I'm hoping that the rest of it will lighten up to match that. We'll see.
Yes, we will. Editing me here. That's it for this week. See you next week.